discussed chapter 7, and we said that there were two promises, one from Sydney Carton to Lucy, and the other one was from Charles Darnay to Dr. Manette. Here we are going to discuss one of these promises and the effect of it upon Dr. Manette. Dr. Manette, when he talked to Sydney Carton, Dr. Manette, when he talked to Charles Darnay and he told him about his real name or intended to do this, Dr. Manette refused. Then what happened? Yes, okay, so
he told him, I don't want to know anything. At the day of your marriage, you can tell me anything.
Yes, so he asked him to keep his secret till the morning of the day of the marriage. But upon doing this, what happened to Dr. Manette when they went to talk secretly in his room? What happened to Dr. Manette? In this chapter. Chapter 9. Yes, brother.
Dr. Manette checked them and was smiled again.
Was he the same person who went into the room when he went out? Was he the same person? How did he look like when he went out after talking to Charles Darnay?
He was sad.
Yes.
And
his face was with no color. His face was so pale. He was as if he was shocked because what he really heard was so shocking and so upsetting. What do you expect from Charles Darnay to tell him?
Told him that his uncle is the Marquis and his real name is Charles
Evermont,
and that he left France because he didn't love the unfairness.
He told him so before that we were both the same. We left our motherland because we were mistreated or we didn't like the place there. So they left Paris and they went to London in order to find a better life and to find a new career. But what was he going to tell him on that special day was his real name, that Charles Darnay or Charles Evermont was the nephew of the late Marquis that caused all the suffering and all the misery of Dr. Manette. Upon hearing that, he returned back to what he was suffering before, that he was so confused, he was so thoughtful, he was so pale and wasn't the same as he went into the room. Yes, Suhail?
He was between two things, his fear about someone hurt his daughter, and
he didn't want to hurt his daughter's feelings, especially on the day of her marriage, and to destroy her happiness, because he knew she loved this person. But on the other hand, he remembered all his
enemies from the Evermont,
his fears, his worries, and what happened to him during 18 years of imprisonment, which wasn't so easy for him. People who were arranging for the marriage around the event, or people who were preparing for this event, how many people and who are they? Yes, Shah? Miss Cross, Dr. Manette. We have Lucy, Charles, the bride and the bridegroom. Okay, but Mr. Lord. So about 5 people only attended this marriage. There weren't many people around them on this day. They went to a church which was near to their house, the 5 people, the bride and her groom, and her father, Dr. Manette, and Miss Prose and Mr. Lord. After finishing the ceremony, they went back home to have breakfast. But during breakfast, how was Dr. Manette? Was he happy? He wasn't sad, nor happy. He was shocked, and he didn't talk much. He just gave the bride to her groom and told them, just leave. You have to leave. But before doing this, Mr. Lorry promised Lucy something.
not sure, but I guess he will try to make him return to himself. I'm not sure.
He didn't tell her that in these words or in this way, but he told her never to worry about him. He will be in safe hands. Tilson will take care of him during your absence as if you were here. So he promised her that her absence wouldn't affect her father's mental abilities or things that happened in the past won't happen.
Yeah, he will try to make sure that he will keep
in good condition. Okay.
And he will be stable.
And he will be as safe and as fine as she wished. Okay, thanks, Yamin. When she left, she went for 2 weeks into Wales and yes, for the honeymoon. And after that, her father would join them to be with them for another 2 weeks. But when Mr. Lorry left to find or to finish some business in Pilsen, he went back to find Dr. Monet doing what? He heard what? Hammering. Hammering sound indicates what, yes, sir?
That he was a shoemaker.
He was shoemaking. Again, every time Dr. Monet faced a problem, he resolved it to his shoemaking tools. Whenever you see him doing or making some shoes, it means that he has a problem. He has a problem. So at this time, the problem was for him a double-fold problem. The first one is that his daughter
Married.
Yes.
Married to one of the Maltese.
Okay.
And the second problem that يعني he wanted to work abroad for a same time that your husband is.
His daughter is away, and on the other hand, she's married to a man that he didn't prefer to give his daughter to. So the problem was a double-fold problem. The first part of the problem the idea of Lucy's marriage is being away from him. The second one is Lucy's husband. The idea of giving his daughter to the son or the nephew of his enemy is so shocking for him. But he didn't want to break her heart by refusing him or saying that he didn't want to give him his daughter. But what happened actually was a setback. He returned back to the state of disorder and his mental disorder and forgot everything about being a doctor, forget everything about what, yes, and remembered only the shoemaking. How many days did Dr. Marat stay in this situation? Look at the title of the chapter. 9 days. So the title indicates the period of time during which Dr. Marat was in the state of mental disorder. 9 days he knows nothing about himself, nor his daughter, nor the people around him. He knows only shoemaking and going up and down in his room. Up and down, restless. And the people around him, like Miss Pross and Lorry, can do nothing to him.
He doesn't remember.
He doesn't know them. One of the main parts is when Miss Pross coming out of the room yelling, "Oh me, he doesn't know me. What shall I do?" He doesn't know her. What shall she do, or what should she do at that time? Miss Pross.
She shall try to comfort him.
She will. Or she would. Yes, she tried as much as she could, together with the help of Mr. Lorry, to comfort him and to keep him safe as much as she could. But they had another idea. Now he was left to them to take care of him. What would they tell Lucy about him? When she wrote them letters and she asked about him, what are their reply to her letter would be? Yes, exactly. He didn't, or Mr. Lorry didn't tell her the truth, but instead he did something else. What did he do? Isra, you have an idea? Any idea? No? Nothing? Okay, Dana?
Maybe he told her indirectly.
He told her, Mr. Lorry told her that her father wasn't at home at that time and that he went into some business, which means like treating some people and something like that. It's something convincing. That his father went in business. Did she believe him?
No.
She would, I think that she would, because she knows that her father wasn't the kind of person who would go out and socialize with people.
He wasn't socializing, he was in business, he was working.
She wouldn't think that he would do that. He would go outside and work outside. Just communication. Yes, that's what I thought. I didn't think.
Okay.
Maybe something else that we have the feelings in the heart that knowing my father is in trouble, so that he's not afraid.
Yeah, she didn't pay attention to that part and she didn't feel that there could be a problem. She believed her, yes. And after 9 days of shoemaking, Dr. Malek went out of his room and said nothing about the period during which he was making shoes, yashahad. And starting from this point up to the time he was going to join his daughter, Mr. Lord told him that when his daughter asked about him, they told her that he was in business. That's why, or that's what he should know in order not to tell her anything about what he suffered during her absence. So when he joined her, he told her nothing of shoemaking or doing anything that would make her sad or something like that in her absence after her lunch. After they returned back, they received some visitors to congratulate Habib. Sydney Carton was the first one to come and congratulate them. But there is something that ran between Sydney Carton and Charles Darnay.
He asked permission to visit the family and to be a friend to the family.
He asked for permission to visit the family and to their friend. How did Charles Darnay need this permission or meet these friends? Did he treat him in a good way? Did he answer him in a good way? So, how did he meet him? Yes, ma'am.
He said that he thought that they were already friends, but he didn't mean it. He had to say them, and he
Yes, as a kind of compliment. That you're already our friend, you don't need to take any permission.
And
Okay.
when Sydney Carter replied to his answer, he replied in a nice word but in a cold way.
Yes. So he told him, if it weren't for the resemblance between you and me, that I should be treated like a forgotten piece of furniture at the house. So it means, don't treat me as long as I look like you, or as long as I resemble you. Don't treat me as if I'm here and not here, because we only look like each other. So as if I don't have my own identity. I'm a person, a human being. I have my identity and my character. So Charles Darnay answered him coldly that you're already one of the friends of our family that you used to visit us so often, so it's okay to keep on doing this. He asked another permission that if Carton had the freedom with his name, which means instead of telling him Mr. Darnay and Mr. Carton, they can call each other like Sydney and Charles and something like this, he told him, you're free to do what you want. When Darnay was with his wife, they had to talk about this, and he mentioned this permission to her about Sydney, and that he asked her to come for their house frequently or a few times during the year to visit them. What was Lucy's answer to this? Again, when Darnay talked to his wife about this time, he talked with Sydney Carton about the permission to come and visit. What did Lucy tell him? Did she tell him that you treat him in a good way that will allow him to come frequently?
No.
Or that you treat him in a bad way, or you need to
show him some respect.
Yes, you need to show him some respect because you don't do this. She asked him to promise her first before she told or said anything. Darnay asked, why should I promise? But she asked again, please promise me before telling you anything. So he promised her that he will keep her words or never say no to what she would ask her. Then she told him that, first of all, you should respect him because he's a human being. You told him that you are not going to change, and he will never change, as I tell you. But as long as he comes and visits us, we should treat him in a good way. That's enough that we are together, we are happy together, and he's miserable being alone. And this was this quotation. Remember how strong we are in our happiness and how weak he is in his misery. So she feels what for Sydney Carton? Pity or sympathy. She feels that he is miserable as long as he lives alone. And they are stronger because they live together and they are happy together. Her husband promised her to do so, and that was the end of chapter 9, which is 9 days. Yes, ma'am?
He doesn't deserve her pity. He was the one who made it. He's done for himself and he's not claiming to change.
Sometimes you find people who they harm themselves by themselves, but you don't have to feel any bad feelings towards them. You have to treat them in a good way as long as they are good to you. So I don't say that, for example, Minna is a girl's girl and she doesn't prepare for her lessons, she doesn't do any homework and so on, so I treat her in a bad way. It doesn't give me the reason to do this, unless you treat me in a bad way. This way I can do whatever I want. But as long as you're a good person, I should treat you in a good way. You're a human being and deserve respect. Okay. But if we start from the beginning, what happened to Dr. Manette after his daughter's wedding? Yes, Dara.
He was shocked and he lost his mind.
He was shocked.
And he lost his mind.
He lost his mind.
And he returned back to be a shoemaker.
Yes, okay.
And he lost his brother. And stayed
This is one that he became a shoemaker.
Yes. He started again the shoemaking trade that he used to do when he was in prison. Okay. Who was the first visitor to Lucy and her husband? I need one of the three, please. No.
Sydney Carton.
Sydney Carton visited them and asked for something during his visit. He asked for something during his visit. So,
That he wanted to be part from the family. That he was befriended. They are gonna go to his house and he's going to their house also.
Great. Thank you. Before the marriage, while they were preparing, Miss Cross and Mr. Lorry had a conversation together. What did they talk about? Mr. Lorry and Miss Cross. No, not Dr. About Mr. Lorry's life as a person who didn't get married until he reached an old age. Mr. Lorry, seeing Lucy as a bride that day, he regretted not getting married at this age. And he told Miss Cross there should have been should have had a child like Lucy and so on, so on, so on. But Miss Pross answered him harshly or in a direct way. Don't tell me that there should have been or they, if you should have got married long time ago because you were born as a bachelor. A bachelor is someone who didn't get. So you were born like this, and you will live all your life like this. You can change it, of course. Miss Pross, on the other hand, had some regrets from her own side, but her regrets were different. She regretted that the one who would marry Lucy wasn't her brother, wasn't her brother, Solomon. If you remember, I told you this name before.
Yeah.
Who was the same John Barsal, the same person who made himself as a spy and visited Saint Antoine in order to get some information. He was the same person who stole her money before and stole her valuable things and left the house. So she wanted this person, her brother, to get married to.
Because she didn't know he was bad.
She knows her brother.
He's really bad.
Maybe.
Those things that he
She's only regretting this, but actually what happened on that day was that Lucy got married to Charles Darling.
She regretted that Lucy didn't marry her brother.
Yes. She wanted this marriage to be to her brother, or Lucy's marriage to be to her brother.
Didn't she care about Lucy if she knew who was Solomon? His true side, she wouldn't ever wish
Maybe
for
because she
Lucy to marry.
cares for Lucy, she wanted her to be so close to her. That's why she wanted her to marry her brother. Maybe.
She doesn't know his
This is
real
our own opinion. Maybe.
Let me see if I can understand this part. Why she wanted her brother to marry Lucy?
This is what Charles Dickens told us, actually. He told us that Miss Pross wanted. Yes.
John Barsal, the brother of Mrs. Pross.
But with the name of Solomon, not with the name of John Barsal. He had a new name.
So,
John Barsal isn't his name.
and he changed his name.